Okay, so we can get out this one a couple of different ways. This is a great thoracic extension stretch, so we're able to open up the low back as well as really mobilize in through the shoulders and the elbows. So all you're gonna need is some sort of surface, a box, a chair, a ball, which we can go through in a second, something large. It doesn't necessarily have to be a yoga block, but something that can keep your hands about the width of your shoulders apart, okay? So you're just gonna kneel, holding on to your object this way. Elbows are gonna come onto the chair, and you're just gonna kind of press your head and chest through the shoulders. And the block is just here to keep a little bit of separation in your hands initially. But after you kind of settle into the stretch, you can also add a small amount of a squeeze onto the block. And it needs to be relatively gentle because it can be a little bit painful because the shoulder is sort of bound up in this joint as we're trying to create increased mobility. So you can give it a squeeze and hold for 3 or 4 seconds, and then you can relax out of the whole thing, adjust wherever you need to increase your comfort, and come on back down. Give the block a squeeze and relax. To work into your specific restrictions, you may even find that you can rotate your hands to an open position this way, which is really going to stimulate that mobility through the elbow as well. So elbows on, same thing, block is going to be between the inner part of the arms. We're trying to not bring the elbows close together, right, but they need to stay further apart so you can fit through. So we're here, rotate the palms back toward you, open and squeeze. Relax out of it, come down, open and squeeze. Okay, so for this one, we're working on rotating the joint from a stable surface on the hand. So it's not as common that our hands are in this really fixed position, but we're gonna fix the hands with these wide fingers where thumbs are making contact and palms, like back full circumference of the palm is making contact as well. On the knees to start with, and you're just gonna rock forward into a comfortable wrist flexion place. Don't get bound down and into a super tight, uncomfortable place. And then all we're working through is turning the front part of your elbow in front of you and really stretch through that motion. And then you're gonna rotate them back the other way. Come up and through. So we're starting with this really isolated motion of really just focusing on the elbow position. So most of this stress you'll feel around the elbow and then around the radial head where it meets your thumb. So nice wide fingers, forward and backward. 10 to 15 times. And then what we're gonna do is integrate some shoulder and scapular motion into it as well. So same position with the hands and knees. And all you're gonna think about doing now is as you start the motion, you're gonna dip your chest down, letting yourself fall between the shoulders, rocking up and through and coming back to the top. So you can see what happened as I started here with my elbow pits facing backward, and I dropped my body through, and as I came up, the front of those elbow pits rotated forward. And then I'll relax them as I come back down and rotate up. Takes a little bit of thought, or it may just come totally natural. Just a way to integrate that full chain of shoulder blade to shoulder to elbow to wrist and hand, right? And then you can reverse it. So same thing, rather than coming down and through, now we're gonna come back this way and then drop up and through. Back first, up and through. Back first, up and through. Okay, and just play with that elbow position just a little bit. Okay, wrist stability. So when we're in this flat hand position, we're working on a lot of thumb stability and elbow stability. But if we can take the hands into more of a fist position, and you can make the choice to either have the fingers splay out flat this way, which takes a little bit more strength through the metatarsal stabilizers here, or you can kind of roll up into a fist so that your finger and hand get the support from your other fingers, okay? So you're gonna come here, and you can start sort of in this this 4-point position. And what you're gonna do is just bring your knees off the ground. So we call this a bear plank. So you're just gonna take the knees up off the ground about 3 or 4 inches. And just hold here, just to kind of figure out what you're feeling. You can play with your thumb motion a little bit and really just make sure that your abs are staying scooped and pulled in, but then just feel what you're feeling. Maybe rock forward and back. See where it feels hard. Is it painful? Is it strenuous on the right versus the left? And just kind of see what it feels like forward and back for maybe 20 to 30 seconds. And then shake it out. Give your hands a little bit of a break. Maybe do a few circles, kind of spin them around. And then we're gonna take that into a march. So we'll come back into that same fist position. Knees are gonna come up and off the floor, and then you're just gonna take a hand off and then hand off and rock back and forth between the two. 10 on each side, maybe just one set. See how it feels, see how fatigued your shoulders get, and see how fatigued your abs get, and make sure you don't wear yourself out. If that feels pretty easy, you can take that same sort of thing and then just work out so that we're getting some nice good scapula stimulation as well. Same thing, about 10 times, see how it feels, 2 sets if you're doing great. All right, so the next piece we're gonna do is called a dolphin push-up. So this one you're gonna position your hands just so that your elbows are about shoulder width apart, and the palms are actually gonna rotate down and come flat. And you're gonna prop up onto your toes. And what we're doing through here is pushing from the forearms into like a downward dog. And you'll come straight back down to flat, this nice plank position, and then you'll push up and back. So this is a great tricep strengthener and shoulder blade strengthener. Super important to move slow and try to get to that end range and hold for a moment. 2 sets of 10 to 15.